Since the workers in Russia were not happy, in 1898 the Social Democratic Workers' Party was founded by the Socialists. Socialists were those who believed that property should be equally distributed among all the people rather than it being in the hands of a few. The workers in Russia who preferred socialism formed the Social Democratic Workers' Party. This party published their own newspapers, mobilized workers, and organized strikes to get their rights. The people in Russia felt that they could achieve socialism more quickly than any other country because in Russia they practiced the method of dividing land periodically, so this made them natural socialists. So thus the people in Russia were getting ready to start a revolution. It was the peasants who were more powerful than the workers in Russia, and they were the ones who were getting ready to fight this great revolution. The peasants in Russia also formed a party known as the Socialist Revolutionary Party in 1900. This party struggled for the rights of the peasants and demanded that the land which was in the hands of the nobles be transferred to the peasants. During this time, the Social Democrats disagreed with the social revolutionaries about the peasants. A political leader in Russia by the name of Vladimir Lenin was against the Social Revolutionary Party. He said that the peasants in Russia were not united. He also said that some of the peasants were poor and some were very rich. He said that some worked as laborers while others were capitalists. Capitalist means they were very rich, they owned big lands. So he said that all of them could not be a part of the socialist movement. During this time, Lenin formed his own party known as the Bolshevik Party in Russia. Besides the Bolsheviks, there was another party in Russia known as the Menshevik Party. This party was also a part of the Social Democratic Workers' Party. The Menshevik Party was a party that was open to all people, not like the Bolsheviks, who only allowed those who were disciplined and only a particular type of people were allowed to be members of the Bolshevik Party. Let us now move on to another short unit entitled A Turbulent Time, the 1905 Revolution in Russia. In 1905, the people in Russia were getting more and more agitative. Agitative means they were fighting for their rights. The people in Russia during this time demanded for a constitution for Russia. You remember I spoke to you about the liberals, the radicals, and the conservatives in Russia. Now it were the liberals who demanded for a constitution in Russia. As the people were demanding for a constitution in Russia, during this time there were a lot of other problems that the people were facing. At this time, the prices of essential goods, you know what are essential goods? Things like rice, wheat, bread, etc. These are essential goods. The prices of these essential goods rose. Rose means they became expensive. The wages of the workers declined by 20%, means the workers got a very less salary. Since their salaries became less, they couldn't afford to buy the expensive goods. Since the workers were going through a very troublesome time, the number of workers' associations increased. These associations fought for the rights of workers. Since the workers joined these associations, many of them were dismissed from work. Dismissed means they were thrown out from their jobs. When some of the workers were dismissed from their jobs, the others went on a strike. Those who went on a strike demanded for reduction in the working day. Reduction in the working day means they demanded that the work hours should be less, that is 8 hours a day and not more than 8 hours. They also demanded for an increase in the wage. Wage means increase in the salaries, and also an improvement in the working conditions. When these workers went on a strike, they were led by a very important person named Father Gapin. When Father Gapin led the workers' strike, they went in a procession marching to the Winter Palace where the Tsar lived. When the workers reached the Winter Palace, the Tsar's soldiers came out and attacked the workers. They killed many workers and several of them were wounded. Now this incident took place on a Sunday in 1905 in Russia, and since it took place on a Sunday, it came to be known as the Bloody Sunday in Russia. When the other people came to know about this drastic incident that took place in front of the Tsar's palace, the people in Russia got very angry. This led to several strikes all over the country. The universities closed down. The doctors, engineers, lawyers, and other middle class workers established the Union of Workers and demanded a constituent assembly for Russia. While the people in Russia were still demanding for a constitution for Russia, the First World War began in Europe. So, we will now study the First World War and the Russian Empire. You all know that the First World War broke out in Europe in 1914 between two European alliances. Two European alliances means two groups of European countries. One group comprised of Germany, Austria and Turkey. This group was known as the Central Powers. and the other group that was fighting the First World War comprised of France, Britain and Russia, and they were known as the Triple Alliance. Russia took active part in the First World War. The First World War was fought both outside Europe as well as in Europe. Initially, the people of Russia took great interest in the First World War and supported the Tsar. But later on, when the Tsar refused to consult the people, slowly the people also stopped supporting the Tsar. When the Tsar lost the support of the people, it was very easy for Germany and Austria to defeat Russia. When the Russians were defeated in the First World War in 1916, they retrieved from the war by destroying crops and buildings to prevent the enemy from leaving the land. Now, the enemies during this time were Germany and Austria. There was a lot of damage in Russia during this time, and so Russia decided to leave the First World War. At the same time, the people of Russia also were not happy with the rule of the Tsar. So soon after Russia was defeated in the First World War, immediately in 1917, the Russian Revolution broke out in Russia.